a show that focuses on your personal financial journey and the markets around us. That's Dollars and Cents, Thursday afternoons at 4, here on WSIC.
The following is a paid program and does not necessarily reflect the views of WSIC.
I want to see the kind of industries that are opening up.
This is Local Biz Now with Joe Vagnone, where your business matters. Local Biz Now.
You have to determine what is working, what isn't working.
Joe Vagnone is a respected business broker, helping individuals buy and sell businesses. Joe has successfully owned and operated many companies in a variety of industries. This is Local Biz Now, because your business matters.
And you are listening to the #1 talk live business show here in North Carolina. We are coming to you live from Burner Cigar Studio, home of the finest premium cigars and cigar smokers in the world. Great people, premium cigars. Life is good at Burner Cigars, located in Birkdale Village. Go on by there, tell them that Joe sent you. Your first cigar is on me. That's right. Go on by there and see them. We hope to inspire, inform, and entertain you every Monday afternoon, because that's what we do here at News Talk WSIC. I am Joe Vagnone, and you are listening to Local Biz Now. We are the #1. I'm going to prove it to you. Over 11 years strong, we have well over 850 small business owners and community leaders that we have interviewed. We have well over 600 videos on our YouTube channel. Go to Joe Vagnone Business Broker YouTube, and you will see well over 600 videos of our interviews that we have had over the years. A lot of interesting stuff, a lot of small business information there. We are live on the book, live on the tubes, live on the chain, live on some kind of, I don't know where Wilton's got us, but if you want to see us live, you can see us live now. If you don't know Joe Talk, that is Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and X. We are live there right now. I follow Facebook here live, so if you want to communicate, ask me a question, or ask my guest a question, you can do that on Facebook, and I am follow that for you. You are listening to Local Biz Now, where your business matters. And you know, every now and then, it just happens that we get ourselves a big wig, smart dude comes in here. We tricked them. We don't let them know exactly what they're in for till they get here. We lock the door on them. Today is one of those days. I am pleased. We have the entire hour we're going to be spending with the CEO and president of Truliant Federal Credit Union. They got a tagline: "We are here to help you achieve your goals." His name is Todd Hall. Todd, thank you for being here, buddy. I appreciate it.
Joe. Really glad to be here.
Oh, Wilton's even got you a little clapping going on there.
Nice, very nice. I'll take all I can get.
So, Todd, thank you for being here. This is a small business show, and every now and then we like to bring some big brain C class in here to kind of tell us what the other side of the world is like, and we appreciate you doing that for us.
My pleasure to be here, and I don't get carried away with the big brain thing now, Joe. You're setting up the expectations.
That's right. So, listen, I got a lot of people that advise small business people listen to the show. A lot of small business people watch the video afterwards. And we're all asking the same question, like, how did Todd get here? You know, kind of give me an idea. You don't have to go back to 1962, right? But kind of give me an idea. How did Todd get to CEO and president of one of the largest credit unions in the state? Kind of walk me through that.
I will. Good fortune would probably be the biggest answer on that. But like many, you know, back in the late 80s, I came out of the University of South Carolina as a business grad and went to work for a thrift savings and loan, for those that are your and I age, Joe, that used to exist. And, you know, started my career there in their management program, and then elevated up, was acquired in the banking industry like many others by First Union, and then joined BB&T when BB&T was expanding out of Wilson, North Carolina, and spent a good bit of my career with them in a number of roles across a number of states, and really nice, educational time.
Right.
And then reverted back to the small institutions and went to a community bank in Atlanta that wanted to sell, and we helped them do that, and then did a de novo experience down in South Carolina. And at the end of that, it was right in 11, so we were just coming out of the Great Recession and all the impacts of that. And I was fortunate enough to get introduced to the credit union space as an employer. I'd always been a credit union member. My father was a lifer with the telephone company in South Carolina, so I'd been a member of Carolina's Telco since my childhood, and got introduced to the credit union space, and it really resonated with me that it was like what I started in banking back in the 80s. It was about people, people over profits, and it just I was inspired to get into that part of it, and was fortunate enough to get.
It's interesting that you say that, because that's the one thing I got when I did some research on you. We don't know each other. We just met each other. And so I did a little bit of research, and that kept popping up. That your tagline, I could have sworn somebody came into Todd's office and said, hey, what's our tagline going to be? And Todd came up with this. We want to help. Like, that sounds like something you would say. Like it just seems as though your entire career seems to be, how can I help? Where can I plug myself in and help? Am I missing when I say that? Because it seems to be that way.
I don't think you missed anything, but I think that's the essence of any of us that are successful in business, right? Is how do you help whoever it is that is you're trying to serve? Whether it be in the financial services industry, whether it be in the HVAC industry, the fishing industry, whatever it might be, it's about how do I connect with those individuals, and then how do I help them accomplish whatever it is they're trying to do,
Right.
to be successful.
Right. So, am I saying that right? Truliant? Am I
Truliant.
saying that?
Perfect.
Am I
Yes,
saying
sir.
that correctly? Okay. So walk me through some of the biggest changes you have seen in your industry. I can remember the day I was in the newspaper as somebody who was a good customer of Republic Bank, if you remember Republic Bank years ago. And I remember what a bank was back then, and I was taught to make sure you know your manager and that sort of stuff. What has changed?
I think right now the evolution of that is, while it's still personal, we believe that branches, are a part of the continuum of how members want to be engaged with their financial institution. So we think branches are here to stay, but a lot of it's done, online and mobile, and of course the future generations are tech native, digital natives.
I don't think my son has ever been in a bank.
Yeah, well, I've got two sons, and they've only been in a couple of times, and
and that's to see Dad.
Partly, yes, that's right. But so I think that's the biggest change is how do you engage with your client or members for us. And a lot of that is not face-to-face like it was in the old days. It's through different channels.
So how do you measure whether you're actually pleasing the client? Because it used to be, I smiled and shook your hand on the way out the door.
Right,
How are you doing that now?
So we still get some of that, but we also, like many, follow NPS. So we do surveys of our members both at the transactional level whenever they engage with us, and then annually on the relationship level.
Let's take a break,
Absolutely.
and when we come back, we'll keep talking about that.
No problem.
Wilton is blinking the red light at me. You understand that?
I won't get you in trouble.
You are listening to Local Biz Now. I am Joe Vagnone, and I'm here talking with the CEO and president of the biggest, largest, most spectacular credit union in all of North Carolina. His name is Todd Hall. Todd, we appreciate you being here. We'll be right back.
We'll return to Local Biz Now with entrepreneur Joe Vagnone in just a moment.
We okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
100.7 WSIC.
Listen,
Oh,
anybody,
how else would you get it with him?
anytime
right?
somebody
Come on.
important, they mess me up.
Heath, you want a water?
Yeah, I do need one, Wilton, if you got it a second. It's been a running joke. Years ago, I interviewed Tom Tillis a day before the election when he won.
Yeah.
So we've been telling him that we hand-delivered him Iredell County.
I'm sure
right?
he loving that.
And since then, he's probably been on 7 or 8 times. It never fails. He'll call in, right? It never fails. They hang up on him. I mean, the sitting senator of North Carolina. Senator, how you doing? Well, Joe, I'm doing it. I'm like, really? Are you kidding me? He's got to call back again, right?
But he does. That's
He
Tom,
does.
right?
He does.
That's Tom.
But so it's a running joke. If
Yeah.
anybody important, so we're gonna mess this up.
That's
You
fine.
understand
That'd be
that?
fine. That adds to the ambiance, man. What are you talking about? But yeah, we probably need to just let Lee and them as state employees know that we do recognize their $50 billion to our $5 billion, and maybe Joe's exaggerating a little on the biggest thing in North Carolina, but we'll clarify it.
Oh, absolutely.
She's a good friend.
Okay. The chart behind you kind of lets you know.
Time in and out.
See what's in green. You got a minute. And that LBN rejoin. That is Local Biz Now rejoin.
Singers of Lake Norman present Smokin' to a Motown Beat, a choral presentation of the sounds of Motown and rock and roll. Take a musical journey back to
Well,
the
we're ready to go.
60s and 70s with hits by the Supremes, the Four Tops, Stevie Wonder, Elvis.
Nobody
and
likes
more.
Wilton.
The concert features
He got no
highlights from Broadway
friends. Nobody
shows,
likes him.
Motown the Musical and Smokey Joe's Cafe, along with the Mooresville High School.
I only come because I can
See
pick
you
on
at
Wilton.
the Mooresville Performing Arts Centers on May 5th.
Seems to be entertaining. I
To
can
keep up with
understand
all
the
events
attraction.
happening around the community and much more, including amazing local deals, download the WSIC News app today.
Now back to Local Biz Now with your host, Joe Vagnone on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC. Local starts here.
Yeah. Number one talk business show in all of North Carolina. Local Biz Now. I am Joe Vagnone, and I'm here with CEO, President of Truliant Federal Credit Union, Todd Hall. Todd wanted to correct me because I said it was the biggest and baddest and most spectacular federal credit union in the state. You want to give me an idea of your actual size instead of Joe just making one up?
Yeah, so we're $5.5 billion in assets, which is really good sized, and we do think we're the baddest credit union.
That's
around.
right.
But just to clear the record, State Employees Credit Union over in Raleigh, Lee Brady's shop, is about 54 billion. So they're the second largest credit union in the country.
Right.
So just wouldn't want them to be offended that Joe was putting me out there
Joe
to be
was
the,
pushing
the
too high.
biggest credit union in North
You know,
Carolina. I don't, let's do
Todd,
that.
I watched Judge Judy, and they call that puffery.
Oh,
You
gotcha.
understand?
So Joe's puffing. All right, I got it.
Let's talk about something that's really serious, and that is security of the client's interests and assets. That has changed so much, and it's at the top of I'm positive, every one of your depositors. Can you talk a little bit about what that looks like? I remember years ago hearing Hugh McCall say, "I'm in the IT business. I'm not in the banking business."
He's right.
Can you talk about that?
So but glad to. From a cyber perspective, honestly, I believe it's really not a if but when kind of scenario that you'll get breached in some way, shape, or form. I just the bad actors are just so prevalent and intelligent, and then you put AI into all of that now. It just constantly is moving on you. And it may not be us, but it may be somebody that we partner with, that has data.
Right.
And so we got an extensive cybersecurity team that is after a lot of that. But, those things will happen. And then, of course, what we'll do is run to make sure that we insulate any members that would be affected with that. But on the fraud side, on a different side of that, you're just constantly chasing it. And a lot of it is investment. We invest a great deal of monies into the technologies and the people and the partnerships to try to minimize as much of our members, being impacted by fraud.
So I want to try and ask you some small business questions or questions that us small business people are interested in with a guy in your position. How do you deal with the board of directors? Most of us don't have a formal board of directors. A lot of us have advisory boards, but not a formal board of directors. Can you walk us through that relationship and how that works?
Yeah, because so our board is all volunteers, and so in the credit union space, for federal charter credit unions, they cannot be compensated to sit on the board. So they're doing it out of their desire to really improve people's lives, have an impact on an institution that helps the communities that we're involved in. I've been extremely fortunate. One of the attractions of Truliant was the sitting board when I first came 12 years ago, and then that board has continued to morph and improve, and so very fortunate to deal with them. And
do they call you and say, "Hey, why did you do this?" or "This is a problem"? Or "My sister-in-law called and said she didn't." I mean, do you get those kind of calls?
You do not. So we got a very nice, diverse group of professionals, and so we understand our agreement, and we both is. Together, they and senior leadership set strategic direction, and then they allow us to then go operate under that direction that they provide. And so it's really worked out well for us. We've done a lot of good things in the past 12 years, and think we'll do a whole lot, a lot more good things in the future.
So I got to ask, what has changed since COVID? Has your operation changed? What has changed in a material way for your organization?
Probably the biggest thing, as everybody else experienced, was the work from home scenario. We were in the midst of testing remote work when COVID hit, and then immediately went to full blown right out of the chute. When COVID was really at its peak. But just that, our understanding of what jobs for us work best for us and the employee in a win-win kind of scenario. That productivity is good, life work balance is good for them. Figuring out which roles work for us, and then which roles can be fully remote, which of them need to be hybrid, which of them need to be full time. So I think that's the biggest change for us. Serving the member, of course, you couldn't do it face to face, and so
I notice a lot. Again, this is anecdotal for me, but I hear like Jamie Dimon say, "Get back to work, get back to the office." Are you having that trouble, or is it working well for you? The sort of hybrid that you described.
Yeah, it's worked well for us. Now as we go along, we look at certain roles and say, "Hey, let's try it. Let's try if you could come back," because we're just not seeing quite the level of productivity that we need. A lot of times, it's about speed. It's about being able to sit across the table from someone, step into somebody's office and solve a problem versus sending an email or having to track them down and line up a WebEx.
So let me ask you a question. What advice would you give somebody that would like to be the CEO or the president? I mean, I know you joke about it, but it's a position that few people hold in a large organization, right? So what advice would you give somebody? A lot of kids getting ready to get out of college, guide them where to go if the direction they want to go is the path that you took.
I go and sit with all our new hires in orientation every month, and so I basically give that same question comes up. So my standard response
you mean somebody says, "How do I get your job?"
Pretty much. How am I successful? How will I be successful? So first I think is be focused in the role that you're in at the time. So give 120% in whatever job that you're faced with, and stay focused in that moment. Always take on challenges. So if there's challenges others don't want to do, take it on, because what you're trying to build is this closet full of experience. So when things hit the fan, and they always do, you have things to fall back on. So I'm a real proponent of individuals that have a broad experience level, a lot of battle scars from their experiences across multiple industries or at least types within industries, positions, responsibility levels, cultures, all of that I think plays into being prepared to deal with the ever-changing environment as you move up the ladder.
So you described earlier your how you got to the level of CEO. It sounds like everything you did was pretty much in banking. Did you always want to be in banking, or did circumstances just keep leading you in the industry?
I think I was like everybody else. You coming out of college hoping to get a job, right? And so Johnny Folsom was nice enough to hire me in Columbia at South Carolina Federal. Thank you, Johnny.
I've said that before. My first job was a restaurant, washing dishes, and I'm positive. I tell people that my goal was to own a restaurant. If my first job would have been a bank, I would have wanted to own a bank. I've always said that.
I agree. In college, I worked in the bar industry, and I love the bar. I love a bar too. Not that I'm an alcoholic or anything. But so I'm with you. I think it's wherever you got great memories that you enjoy and things of that nature.
Right.
But I did study finance in college. Started out in accounting, moved to finance. So I was orientated to be probably in the banking or insurance industry, probably.
Right. Okay, so I want to have some fun with you, and I want to sort of ask some of these big
that
picture
wasn't on the
questions.
agenda. What do you mean?
That's right. You do your best to act like you're having fun.
Okay.
I'm going to
All
have
right.
fun.
All right.
You act like you're having fun. So let me ask you some questions, and you kind of take them whenever direction you want to go. What's your overall philosophy for leading an organization? One of the things I've learned is that the leader really sets the tone. So describe how you do that, right? Because it sounds easier than it really is.
So, first off, I think good people. I know that's kind of a niche kind of saying, but it really is about you got to surround yourself with really good people that ascertain to accomplish the same thing. For us, it's serving people's best interest and improving people's lives. But so as a leader, I set a high bar. Expectations are high. Pace is really fast. Got to be bold. Problems, run to the fire. Get the right people in the room, put the fire out, move on to the next one. And so for me, it's pace, it's, energy level. It's running to problems. You'll never have all the answers, you can only get that 80% rule kind of scenario. But then once you've got it, get the right people in the room and then make a decision and then pivot if you missed a little bit as you go down the road. But being stagnant on that, I think, is the biggest debilitator to a lot of organizations, that they take too long to move the ball.
Well, you hit my next question. At my peak, the most employees I've ever employed at one time is about 180. And I can remember thinking, number one, the weight on my shoulders of me being responsible for them was heavy. And also getting them to move in the direction I want them to move seemed to take forever. And it's as if yesterday I could pick up the phone and call 2 restaurants and boom, my company had moved in a new direction. How do you do that in such a large organization, sort of implement this change of direction that you want to make?
Yeah, transparent.
Especially in this changing time.
Yeah, true. Transparent communication is big for us. We are working really hard that information, ideas, thoughts, motivation, the why behind things start at the top and roll through our levels of leadership down to every employee quickly, and then the message doesn't change from what Todd, that old thing about how many times, what is it, 5 people later, and so we really try hard at being transparent in communication. We do town halls where we'll go live and I'll answer questions and explain why we're doing things and, whether they're good or bad. We really try to be open to that. If we need to answer a question, we're not going to answer just because it's a good answer. It's going to be an honest answer, and then the why behind why we chose to take a path we did.
The why has become so important to this generation. You can't get them to move until they hear why you want to.
And they won't move at the pace to which you want to move until they really understand the why and then buy in behind it.
So we've only got about 30 seconds. So on the other side of the break, I want you to think about this. After 12 years, what are you most proud of in the 12-year tenure that you're being here? Give that some thought, and let's talk about when we come back from the break. You are listening to Local Biz Now. I am Joe Vagnone, and I am here with Todd Hall, CEO and President of Truliant Federal Credit Union. If it's Monday afternoon, your business matters. We'll be right back.
More Local Biz Now with Joe Vagnone is coming up on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC. Local starts here.
Well, finishing off the start to our work week on a nice note of warm Monday across the area. Temperatures will cool off tonight. as we fall back down to around 60 across most of the Lake Norman area. Outlying spots and farms could once again drop into the upper, even mid-50s possible for a few folks. For our Tuesday, we're back in the low 80s, plenty of sunshine, but we will need to keep an eye to the sky for the afternoon. A couple of pop-up showers or even a thunderstorm possible for our Tuesday. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Hello, everyone. This is Joshua Doby, president of North Main Financial Group. At North Main Financial Group, we move to where you need us. Investment management, insurance planning, and estate strategies. No two people are the same, so we customize our planning based upon your needs. Reach out to us at northmainfinancial.com. That's northmainfinancial.com.
Cold weather is here, but that doesn't mean it has to be cold inside. At G&B Energy, we provide clean and efficient propane to heat your water heater, warm your home, and cook your meals, even when the power's out. We are a family-owned and North Carolina-grown business known for fair prices and expert service. Visit G&B Energy today on Intercraft Drive in Statesville or gnbenergy.com. G&B Energy, home of the $480 Renai tankless water heater. Restrictions apply.
Yes, spring is here, and at Randy Marion Chevrolet in Statesville, Randy Marion Ford Lincoln, we want to make sure your vehicle is in tip-top shape, ready for the spring driving months, moving right into summer. Bring that vehicle by one of the locations here in Statesville. Let us do a complimentary multi-point vehicle check for you, just to make sure everything's good to go. Randy Marion Chevrolet in Statesville, Randy Marion Ford Lincoln. You know where we are?
Get in to Randy Marion Chevrolet, Randy Marion Ford in Statesville.
Hi, this is Andy with Lake Mountain Coffee, located at 110 West Broad Street in Statesville. Did you know we also own and operate Statesville's first coffee roasting facility? We roast coffee beans for businesses, fundraising events, special occasions such as a wedding. We can even put a custom message on the back of your bags. If you're a company or simply someone with a coffee need, give us a call at 704-252-1886. And remember, if you want fresh, you must go local.
The 2024 Small Business Event is coming back to WSIC. Join us May 1st from 6 to 9 p.m. with over 10 local entrepreneurs and business leaders sharing stories and experiences that led them to where they are today. Listen live on WSIC or watch on your mobile device in the WSIC app. It's the 2024 Small Business Event, one night only, May 1st from 6 to 9 p.m. only on WSIC. Local starts here.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Just minutes ago, ahead of Wall Street's closing bell, and it looks like stocks are on track to end the day with some very modest gains ahead of a big week for earnings from names like Apple and Amazon, a Federal Reserve meeting on interest rates, and on Friday, the April jobs report. Right now, the Dow is up just about 0.5%. The NASDAQ and the S&P pretty much flat. The big gainer today, shares of Tesla, they're up 14.5%. After getting the tentative okay to sell its full self-driving technology software in China, the world's biggest auto market. Meantime, shares of the rental giant Hertz, well, they're up 8.5% after it accelerated plans to unload thousands of Teslas it bought, but no one wanted to rent. And with so many warehouses now outside big cities, Amazon says in March, nearly 60% of deliveries to Prime members arrived either on the same day that the order was placed or the next day, adding to record speeds for the first quarter of the year. Tom Busby, Bloomberg Radio.
Call now to speak with Joe Bagnone at 844-STUDIO-4. It's Local Biz Now on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC. Local starts here.
Yeah. Truliant Federal Credit Union. We are here to help you achieve your goals. Todd Hall, CEO, President of Truliant Federal Credit Union. We are talking with him. This is Local Biz Now, the #1 talk business show in North Carolina where your business matters. Todd, thank you, my friend, so much. I appreciate you allowing me to have fun with you.
Yes,
Thank you, sir, this Monday afternoon.
Enjoyed it.
So I ask you a question. What are you most proud of? And that's a big question because you've been doing this for 12 years now.
So I think most proud is just to be associated with the organization. I mean, I think Truliant is just a fabulous place to work. I think our reputation speaks for itself, and that doesn't have anything to do with me. I mean, I'd be a small part of that. But just, we talked about the board and the quality individuals that serve on the board, the quality individuals that that work for Truliant, the 340,000 members that we serve in the Carolinas and Virginia. Just being associated with that is the thing I'm probably most proud of.
You guys are celebrating 70 years. That is a long time. You don't look 70
Thank
years.
you. Yeah, I work hard at it, man. I work hard at it for sure. Closing in on it, but 2022 it was our 70th anniversary.
So that alone tells me there was sort of some standards in place before you got here.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, for sure.
Do you feel like you changed some of those in 12 years, or do you feel like you've just built on top of those?
Yeah, I think it was foundational, so I think we built on top of that. It was a great organization when I got there. We had really good people. We tweaked kind of some of the direction about what's it going to take for us to be here another 70, right? Because the world is changing, as you described earlier. So now it becomes about revenue scale. And so now we need to, instead of being more traditional and, hey, we're going to make consumer loans, and that's kind of how we're going to generate income. We're going to always do that well, but we're also going to get into SBA lending. We're going to get into commercial lending. We're going to get into mortgage business. We're going to get into insurance, property and casualty insurance, all those different revenue streams that allow us to create revenues that aren't solely dependent on, one channel of interest rates. And then we have all this investment to make. So I think that was the tweak that went on as we just got bigger and diversified.
So as you was describing all of that, it reminded me of the first question I wanted to ask you and didn't. What's the difference between a credit union and a bank? I kind of get the nonprofit, but I don't know what else that there is.
Honestly, we do a lot of the same things. Now, bigger banks make their money a little differently, between syndications and the trades and the big desk, and a lot of theirs is commercially focused. Credit unions are limited somewhat as to how much of their portfolio can be in the commercial lending scheme. But we expanded that by doing SBA, and then, as you well know, we sell those guarantees in the secondary market and create non-interest income. But I think the biggest difference for me, when I talked to all my banking buddies, from the day, I'm like, the beauty of the credit union space is, one, the mission. So, all our people are focused on, we do a lot of the same things that banks do, but what we do it with the member in mind, right? So how are we going to help that individual sitting on the other side of the desk? All our success stories throughout the credit union, we have these success channels come out, is all about us helping some member, find a way to replace their HVAC unit, So we're a low-income designated credit union, which means that more than 50% of our members have to live in a low to mod census tract scenario where they make 80% or less of the median income of that community. So we have actually 61% of our members meet that description, and then 52% of our employees come out of those very same communities. So we hire from where the communities we serve. But with that, there's a lot of victories that really swell your heart of people that are struggling. On the other side, our members are blue collar. We serve a major blue collar segment, and so we've been in a recession. It might not be a technical recession, but our folks have been hurting for the past 12, 18 months. And so we've been there trying to help them get through all of that, make ends meet, deal with inflationary costs. Car breaks down, got to have a car. How do we get through those things? So a lot of our success stories are a little different.
And nothing you just described, I would think the larger banks would help me with. I mean, it's not how I would consider them to assist me.
So I do think that credit unions do consumer better, dealing with the individual better, just because that's why we were built, and the mantra in which we stand. And then the other part about it is, not having shareholders and quarterly, investment calls and targets and things. I do think that credit unions have the opportunity to have a little longer strategic plan, because, you're missing earnings in a particular quarter. Sometimes you have to make shorter steps to offset that versus just riding that long term. So for us, that's preparing for 5 years from now, and how do we compete with what, we see as our competition, Chime, SoFi, Ally, Capital One, if they pull off its
So a lot of those really go after small business people in a big way. Do you guys have programs that you're focused on helping small businesses?
We do. We do a lot of financial education is big for us. So we're, out in our communities, both from a small business perspective and an individual's perspective. But we have over 1,300 small businesses, companies that consider us their credit union, called, a special employee group called a SEG. So we have 1,300 of those that have said, yeah, we want Truliant to be designated as our credit union. So we're in there all the time trying to educate their staffs and their managements on, okay, how can we help you be better? How can we help you improve the lives of your specific employees? So we do a lot of that piece. Of course, I mentioned we're in the SBA business. We just doubled the size of our SBA group. So we added a team. Of course, SBA is pretty national, so they're all over the place when you talk about Kansas and things. I think I got one in Kansas too.
Right.
But so we'll generate $200 million plus in small business loans in the next 12 months. That's a lot of small business loans for an institution our size. That's a whole lot of small business.
That number surprised
me. But we do it really well, conscientiously, and that flutters from the smaller end of that spectrum to the bigger ones in the $2, $3, $4, $5 million range. Right. We do a lot of them that are sub $500,000. So we think when PPP came out, if you remember that, we made 35,000 PPP loans.
Wow. Goodness gracious.
Yes, sir. And so
you guys were a little busy.
We were, but our average loan amount, was well below those national averages because we were doing Main Street America. We're helping those folks get $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 PPP loans to get through that first wave of the epidemic. So we were very proud of doing that.
So you had mentioned this, which actually kind of surprising to me, that you meet with every single new hire. That's an interesting statement that you said, that you see them in a group setting. Can you talk about how you get new hires up to speed with your corporate structure and your business values? Can you talk about how you do that?
Yeah, so like everybody, we'll bring them in for orientation. We like to bring everybody in personally to start orientation. And so when we do that, one, they're getting all the typical things. Here's your bennies. This is what we're about. Here's how we do these kind of things in business. But then they'll have lunch the second day they're into orientation with senior management. And so we bring them all in. We sit down. We shoot the breeze. We cut up. We do some introductions. We talk about what moved us to be there. And then others, myself included, then we'll go meet with them for an hour at a time during the remainder of their orientation and talk about, just what we talked about. How can you be successful here? What are we looking for? We're really big about culturally having the right people. And so, we're after good souls. We want people that are empathetic, that they, think as much about somebody else as they do themselves, that they want to serve in some ways, be the best employee they can be, as the person sitting next to them, as well as serve the member on the other side. So we invest quite a bit on the culture stuff. Got great set of benefits. I mean, I'll stack our benefits up with, anybody in town. And I think that resonates with people. Hey, we're willing to apply, those revenues to them. So we believe preventive medical is big. So if you're an employee for us and you're willing to get an annual physical, thank you. Yeah, I'm stumbling. Physical, I'll pay you medical benefit. So medical benefit is free with me if you'll go get it. And so, and then of course we have everything else: vision, dental, short and long-term disability, 4.5% match on 6% on the 401k, a pension, all, any and all of those things. I think just contribute to people understanding what we deliver as a value proposition and why they might be.
And I've learned that customers know that too.
Yes, sir.
How you treat the employees, and they appreciate that.
Well, they recognize that. If employees are in a good place, usually if we're treating them well, they understand why they're there, then their engagement with the members is just that much better. When it's not, you can feel it.
So I'm going to ask you a question. We come back from the break, give you time to think about it. Here's the question. What's the most important to you, mission, vision, or values? When we come back, you're going to answer that. You are listening to Local Biz Now. I am Joe Vagnone. If it is Monday afternoon, your business matters. And we hope to inspire, inform, and entertain you, because that's what we do here at News Talk, WSIC, 105.9 FM, 100.7 FM, 1400 AM. We'll be right back. We good?
Yeah, man.
We'll return to
Make
more
it
of
look
Local Biz Now.
That's
with your
hard to
host,
do, man. That's hard to do.
We're
Now,
trying.
I know.
We're trying.
It's all the effort. I appreciate the effort. I'm not going to hold the outcome against you. All right? It's just hard to work with. You ain't got a lot to work with.
Tonight, as we fall back down to around 60.
Just one more.
Outlying spots and farms.
We can do it, man. We can do it. I'm holding on. Barely got a
Oh,
spring.
hey, this is Wilton. I forgot, didn't I? But we're gonna do it when we come back. Okay. Okay. The burners. I know. He didn't say a word to me. He wouldn't say a word to me. I know. But the minute I walk in the cigar shop, they're gonna say, "Dude, where's my commercial?"
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Start time is 6:30 p.m. with music from U2 tribute band Rattle Hum beginning at 7. Grab your chairs and we will see you at Lane Tree in Mooresville on Thursday.
When we started, again, the WSSC had started it with their news guy, just interviewing small business people, and it was flat, it was dry. They knew it was flat and dry, and so we ready to go?
Yeah, it still is. Yeah. Payback right there.
Nobody
man.
likes
Payback.
him. He's got no friends. Nobody likes him. And so they asked a small business coach to take on the show. Very sharp guy. He was a executive vice president of some insurance company. He was an actuarium. Really, really smart guy, right? And he knew he could not carry the show, so he tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Will you do this with me?" Well, after the first week, he spent about 30 minutes planning and prepping the show and the interview. As soon as we went live, I just ignored all the prep and just did it. You know what I mean? And that was the end of it, right? It was Joe's show. And, but Wayne stayed with me for 3 years. He did all the scheduling. He did all the...
I was going to say, an actuary does not seem to be the right mix for a radio host.
That's right. That's right. He was a wonderful guy,
Yeah,
but he just
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
missed
yeah.
the mark. And then he finally retired. And when he retired after 3 years, that's when I took it over. And for me, what I do is have different co-hosts. Okay. I have different co-hosts every month that bring. And my particular co-host, she would love to be here because she's a cultural and leadership expert. Yeah. And so I know she hates missing this. So every month I have somebody different to kind of keep Joe clean. And
that's a hell of a job.
You guys don't have that, right?
On 105.9, 100.7 WSIC. Local starts here.
Yeah! Number one live business show in all North Carolina. Local Biz Now, where your business matters. Fire it up, Wilton.
Hey there, it's Josh Johnson, and as a firefighter, I know how to keep cool under pressure. But when it's time to unwind, I head to Burner Cigar. Fire up your chill time with our hand-picked selection, because we all need a moment to enjoy life.
Thanks, Wilton. I appreciate it. You are listening to Local Biz Now, where your business matters. And if you go by Burner Cigar, all you got to do is hold up a sign. It doesn't have to be this exact one, but hold up a sign, put it on social media, and your first cigar is on me. Burner Cigars. It is an exceptional place to go hang out. It is a great place for premium cigars at a discount price. Go on by there, Brookdale Village. Same parking lot as Dick's Sporting Goods. Tell them that Joe sent you. Thanks, guys. Okay, let's get back to business at hand. And I'd ask you a question. We're talking with Todd Hall. He's the CEO and president of Truliant Federal Credit Union. You said you were the second largest in North Carolina. Is that fair? Did I get that?
You got it.
Okay. All right. I asked you a question. I'll repeat the question.
Thank you.
Here it is. What is most important to your organization? Mission, vision, or value? How would you answer that?
So I'm gonna dodge that slightly, only in the fact that I think all three of those contribute to what the organization is all about. So the mission sets, okay, here's what we're out to do. There's our value proposition. The value piece of that is just, the cumulative of all the people that make up our team, our culture, whether it be board associated, our employees, even though those folks in the communities we serve that choose to do business with us, that they create that whole value piece, which is hugely essential, because you got to be, if we're not serving the right people or we don't treat people the right way, then everything kind of falls apart. And so, mission obviously again sets the direction, and then what would we say? Vision.
Yeah, values.
Values. So I think the value piece of that is again just about is made up by who it is that what do we stand for. And so, yeah, I think all three of those things. Right. I don't know that I could tell you one versus the other.
Well, it's funny that you say that because this question was asked to Bill Gates. It's why I like it and ask it. And he answered almost the same way you did. Depending on his career and type, life cycle and business cycle, each one of those were important at a particular time. So you join the club.
Call Bill and tell him I'm coming over later. Yeah.
Now, okay, I'm test number 2. Okay. Now, this same question was asked of Bill Gates as well. So how do you measure success? In your eyes, what does that look like? I'm assuming you've got that question asked to you before.
Yeah, I think you can measure it in several ways, or I do. It's one, how successful are the people around us? So, are those folks that have chosen to put their career in our hands and work for Truliant, join us? Are they being successful? Are they taking care of their families well? Are they progressing and finding satisfaction, in their careers and their experience with us? And then success, I think, is continuing to run an organization that is doing well and then living that mission. So for us to live the mission to the very best across all those different lines of businesses and individuals that we deal with, we have to be successful and make the right decisions. And so I think that would be it.
Bill Gates answered it. How many people have I helped?
Oh, I like it. Of course, call Bill and let him know I'm gonna borrow his quote.
That's right. That's right.
That was clean. That was right direct to it. It wasn't
keep in mind,
wordy.
I'm sure he answered that one after the first 20 billion.
Yeah, I got a little ways to go for that. Yeah, I got a little ways to go.
Okay. All right. So, let me ask you a question. If you were an employee, or I was an employee, and I would say, how can I add value to the organization? How would you answer that? In other words, I want to make sure that I am helping your organization. How would you answer that if somebody is asking that question?
Oh, I think level of contribution. All right. So how focused am I at providing whatever it is I'm asked to do? Whatever my role in the organization, how well am I doing that? What positive influences am I having on both my fellow employees for them to be successful, and or the members if I'm a member facing role? So I think it would be that. You could judge if I was going to say that, it'd be how well do you believe that you are actually performing the job that you're tasked with doing at the moment, and then what is the impact you're having on those around you, whether it be member or board.
So okay, so here's a question. When's the last time you had to make a difficult decision and let somebody go? How do you feel about that when that happens? Listen, you don't have to tell me. I can already tell it bothers you. I mean, I can already tell, right? That's the case, right? So walk somebody through that, because it's probably, most people don't know this, but it is the most difficult thing for a small business person to do, is to let somebody go. We don't hire so that we can let somebody go, right? And I can tell that's your.
I don't think anybody good does, right. And it happens, right? It's part of business. It's either a bad fit or some things happen, so it's inevitable. Going back to that, what helps you to grow in your career experiences. So, there were certain times in my career with certain institutions where there was a lot of that going on, and I was in the middle of a lot of that. And so you just see the impact it has on people, right? So you're talking about their livelihoods. They are their family's livelihoods, So you never do it
that moment is not going to be positive for
anybody. It can't be. It wouldn't be for anybody. Not only about their own personal self-worth, potentially, but also their, the livelihoods of them and their family, depending on where they are as a wage earner, for them. And so you never take it lightly.
Do you have a thought or a story like you can remember of something that just really touched you, and you either were disappointed with the way you handled it, or you really liked the way it ended up? Do you have a story that comes to mind?
I think that there's one or two on the side where, you really try hard. Even for us now and in the past, that you got somebody and you hate to see them, they have to leave.
Right.
So how do you perhaps help them find employment somewhere else? Or for us, do they find it in a different a different position or something of that nature? So several of those in the past that are like that. I had some, I did a lot of attrition work when I got acquired by First Union.
Oh, I bet so.
Yeah, and
those
so,
are difficult.
Yes, sir. And so, there was some really group settings where we let some people go and they didn't know that's why they were there.
Right.
And you're the representation for the organization. And so to go through all the emotions you get of 40 people that just found out they lost their job.
Right. Oh,
and, between the tears.
Just describing that is just horrible.
The emotional tears of that, the anger, so all that just array of emotions that you watch, it has a big impact on it. It doesn't change the fact that, that you're responsible for the organization and things don't work out. But it does resonate with you, and you never forget, the emotional impact of people getting terminated.
So Todd, you don't know this about me, but I've got a employee that's been with me for 9.5 years. Her name is Julie, and I like to tell people everybody needs a Julie. And she has created a random approved CEO questionnaire list of questions. So let's go through some of these and let's see what your thoughts are. The first one is, tell us about who you have met in your life, just a favorite person or mentor that you have met in your life that you say, I really just genuinely like that person.
Ooh, that's tough. Yeah, I don't like anybody. No, I'm kidding. That's a hard one.
If you say Wilton, I'm not going to believe you.
I really like Wilton. I don't know what you're beating on my man for. I like Wilton, man. I've been fortunate. All the executives at BB&T, when I was there, and I know I'm on the credit union side now, but that doesn't mean they were class acts. They really were. Chris Henson, Kelly King, John Allison, all those cats were really stand up. Folks, and for a guy coming up the ranks, they made very very strong impressions.
So if I were to ask, like, what's your secret sauce? Like, why over the years did you continue to move and others stopped? Is there something that's different or unique about you that allowed you to get to the CEO level and others not?
I don't know if it's unique about me, but the traits for me is I really like to work, so I'm gonna out hustle you. I'm gonna work really hard at it. I don't run away from a problem situation, and so I think taking on difficult situations just prepares you for more. And you earn credibility, and you also learn from your mistakes. And then I'm really self-analytical, so I'm my worst self-critic. And so I think that constant thing, why it wears on you, you're always analyzing, how could I have done it better? What shouldn't I have done? Just like this interview, I'll be going, oh my gosh, how did Joe get me to say that? Oh my gosh, what am I thinking?
No, it's going to be, I'll tell you what Joe could have done better.
No, it's usually me.
We only have about a minute left. Is there a favorite question you like to ask people when you meet them, or a new staff member? Is there something that's inquisitive that you'd like to know about somebody? Does something keep popping up that's interesting?
For a new employee, it's always, so why'd you choose us? Because it's not easy to come to work for Truliant. We're selective on all that. We're looking for those good souls and talent and everything else. And so it's like, all right, well, you had your choices. Why us? Why me? Why? So that's usually the question I like to pop on, see how they respond.
We only got about 30 seconds. Do you think the next generation is ready?
Sure. Nobody thought our generation was ready, right?
Yeah,
so
I know they didn't
they'll
think
be
I
fine.
was.
Exactly. Look at me. So, so I think they'll do just fine. They're going to have their bumps and bruises just like we did. But I got faith in them. I think the next generation will do just fine.
We've been talking with Todd Hall. He is Todd Hall. He is the CEO, president of Truliant Federal Credit Union. We are here to help you achieve your goal. Thank you, Todd.
Yes, sir. My pleasure.
Your business matters. We'll see you next week.